Welcome to this explainer. Jump right in with me here and think back to 1986. In 1986, one guy basically carried an entire nation on his back using just pure, unadulterated magic on the pitch. But look ahead to 2026, and the whole footballing system has been fundamentally redesigned. It's engineered, almost mathematically, to stop the individual in their tracks. Back then, the game was a canvas for a lone artist. Today, it's a high-speed collision with an algorithm. Okay, let's dive into this, because 1986 was an era defined entirely by human error and just this visceral, unbridled brilliance. I mean, think about it. One single referee on the pitch missed literally the biggest handball in the history of the sport. Millions of us watching around the world saw Diego Maradona punch the ball right into the net, but the ref didn't. The goal was awarded. Fast forward to the modern game, and we're dealing with automated precision. We've got multiple camera angles covering every single blade of grass, video review officials sitting in remote booths, automated offside systems. There are actually more officials monitoring a single match today than some entire early tournaments employed for the whole competition. Section 1. The Wild West, 1986. The Era of the Individual. To truly grasp this shift, we gotta transport ourselves back to Mexico, 1986. This was the absolute Wild West of football. It was a really raw era, a time of totally unexpected heroes, like Manuel Negrete scoring a fabulous overhead kick for Mexico, or Denmark famously handing Uruguay a shocking 6-1 thrashing. But above all, it was an era where defensive structures could be completely dismantled by the uncontainable genius of one player operating with remarkable freedom. Just look at the absolute absurdity of the 4-minute gap in the Argentina versus England quarterfinal. At minute 0, the infamous Hand of God, Maradona scores with an illegal handball, completely unpenalized. It's the ultimate display of human error. But then, just 4 minutes later, 4 minutes, he scores the greatest solo goal of all time. You've got the two absolute extremes of football, blatant rule-breaking and transcendent athletic beauty happening in the blink of an eye. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer mechanics of that second moment. 11 seconds, 60 meters, 5 defenders beaten. In that breathtaking blur, Maradona slalomed past the English midfield, the defense, and finally the great goalkeeper Peter Shilton. It was a pure mix of magic and mischief that a modern tactical system, with its pressing intensity heat maps, is designed to never, ever let happen. And that game against England wasn't a one-off. Maradona's path of destruction through the 1986 tournament was absolute. He dominated with a level of freedom that is almost alien today. After England, he hit his peak in the semifinals against Belgium, picking up the ball in the middle of the pitch and driving past 3 defenders for another magnificent solo goal. And finally, he orchestrated that gripping 3-2 victory over a powerhouse West Germany in the final, anchoring Argentina's status as giants. 5 goals and 5 assists in the tournament. He completely owned the pitch. Section 2. The Rise of the Machine. Welcome to the data-driven present. 18. That is the record number of yellow cards handed out during the 2022 quarterfinal between Argentina and the Netherlands, a match appropriately dubbed the Battle of Lusail. And it perfectly represents how crisp, clinical, and heavily monitored the beautiful game has become. The romance of the solo artist has really been met with the rise of the machine. Today's tournaments have replaced that charming human element with technologically enforced precision. Every foul, every tug of a shirt, every minor tactical infraction is tracked, analyzed, and punished. There is literally no hiding from the referee anymore. And the technology is ruthless, guys. Consider this wild fact from 2022. Japan scored a controversial yet VR-approved goal against Spain where millimeter-precise cameras mathematically proved the ball hadn't fully crossed the byline. That single, automated, fraction-of-an-inch decision sent Germany packing from the group stages. Human error is out. Algorithmic certainty is in. Section 3. Bridging the Eras. Messi completes football. So, what does this all mean for a generational talent today? How do you survive in a heavily policed, data-driven landscape? Well, Lionel Messi is the bridge. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that competing in his 6th World Cup in 2022, Messi basically had to figure out how to be Maradona in a world designed to mathematically eliminate Maradona. In 1986, Maradona faced West Germany in an environment of raw magic. But in 2022, Messi faced France in a system that was hyper-monitored. The pressure wasn't just the opponent, it was the suffocating tactical and technological systems wrapping around the game. Yet, in what is considered arguably the greatest final ever played, Messi found a way to inject individual magic back into the machine, scoring twice, lifting the trophy, and ultimately completing football.
Section 4. Man versus the algorithm. Protect the illusion.
Which brings us to a fascinating philosophical crossroads. When the romance of the beautiful game collides head-on with cold, hard data, what happens to the magic? Modern tracking dictates that a run like Maradona's goal of the century should never happen today. He'd be tackled by optimized recovery cycles and defensive systems before he even crossed the halfway line. And the hand of God? No way. It wouldn't last 5 seconds before being instantly voided by video review. The system is bulletproof. But romance dictates that some things are just meant to be. The sheer force of will from a generational player can still defy the algorithm, just as Messi proved. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought to take away from this explainer today. If you were to drop the 1986 version of Diego Maradona with all his raw, uncontainable genius right into the middle of the hyper-analyzed, mathematically optimized football landscape of 2026, could he beat the algorithm? Would his pure, unpredictable magic still triumph over the clinical precision of the modern machine? It's a question that gets right to the heart of why we love the sport so much. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll leave you to ponder that one.